So, good morning, all. So, today we'll start our new chapter feedback. So, wait a minute, let me open. So, we are going to start our new chapter that is feedback analysis. So, coming to our slides, number one. Okay. So, what is feedback? Actually, the feedback is to make the system stable. Okay, like in any circuit or generally in your studied your control system, there you must have studied open loop and closed loop systems. Open loop system, what was the drawback? We cannot, if suppose due to some noise the our bounded output goes in unbounded conditions, then we cannot control, so we need to give some type of feedback. So in circuits, we give feedback when our desired output is not achieved. Like due to noise, some amplification is there, or we cannot control the gain due to certain variation. We need to control that parameter. So feedbacks are employed. So in feedbacks, generally two types of feedback you will see in the circuits. The first one is your positive feedback, and another one is your negative feedback in the circuit. So before that, first feedback is a powerful technique that finds wide application in analog circuits to two types as they have negative and positive. Negative feedback allows high precision of signal processing, where precision is very important. Like this much should be the gain only to modify to amplify the signal. But where we need oscillations, where the amplitude is not important but we need oscillation, there we go for positive feedback. But for our this course, we will go only for the negative feedback. So any feedback can be represented in this form: GS, HS, GS, HS. So this is your feed forward. So this is your feed forward amplifier. And where it went. So this is your feed forward amplifier, and this is your feedback. So when we want to write the expression, how we can write y of h, y of s will be equals to this h of s into x of s minus, due to this negative feedback minus factor, it will come g into y of s. So this you must have gone through in your control system syllabus. You must have gone through how to write these equations. So we got this hs by 1 plus g into h, where this h is your h is your feed forward. This is called your feed forward, and this is called your feedback signals. Okay. So whenever any feedback is employed in any circuit, apart from its original form, there are basically four type of components you will see within the system. Number one is your feed forward amplifier, okay, which is denoted by HFS. This one, that is your C1 is this one. Number two is your sensing output. Like in circuit can give output in form of voltage or in form of current. So what the feedback circuit, the feedback component is what it is analyzing, whether it is analyzing the output current or output voltage, that we must know. So accordingly, there will be one sensing output component, and that can sense if it is sensing voltage. Listen, if it is sensing voltage, then the feedback component or the feedback circuit, not the component, the feedback circuit has input resistance will be of infinite, and it will be just like a shunt connection. Okay, the connection will be just like a shunt connection. And if it is analyzing the current, if the feedback component is analyzing the current, then the resistance seen at the resistance seen in the input of the feedback component, feedback circuit, that will be very low, just like an ammeter. What we do whenever we want to measure the voltage across a resistor. Why this pen is not working? Just a minute. Okay, so whenever we may want to measure the voltage across a resistance, what we do, we attach a voltmeter in parallel. So attaching in parallel means what? The resistance of a voltmeter is very high, such that it should not affect. It acts like a open circuit. That way we say it is a shunt connection. Okay, but when we want to measure current, we attach a ammeter in series because its resistance is very low. So this type of connection is called your series connection. So at the output node, with respect to the feedback circuit, if it is connected in the shunt fashion means parallel fashion, this means definitely you are noting its voltage, the output you are taking as a voltage. And from the, if it is in a series form, the series element, if the component is attached in series to the output, this means you are sensing the current from the output. Okay, now after that comes the feedback network, that is G of S. Okay, once I sense here, this means C1 here, C2 will be at this node, what I am sensing. Then comes your feedback network. Feedback network means it will consist of some passive components or sometimes also active, and this will sense the output, the part of output, and accordingly it will give here the output to the this X of S, where it will generate the error signal. Okay, so feedback error generation is your C4 part and this is your C3 part. So whenever we do see a feedback error generation, if I am giving the input from the output of the feedback as a voltage, then it means a low resistance will come. Okay, low resistance it will show. This means here if it is high resistance, if it is a voltage case, then here it will be a low resistance path, because if we are giving voltage as the output from the feedback network, and there it will act as a series connection. Okay, because whenever we want to do plus or minus, the voltage we have to give either in the series form, not in the parallel form. And when we want to give current, if we want to add or subtract current, then we have to give in the shunt configuration. So that's why just the contradictory is there. If from the output I want to take a voltage, then I will do shunt, but if I want to give voltage as the input, then I will do series. Okay, similarly for current, if I am taking current from the output, then I will do a series connection, and if I am giving current as the input to the input circuit, then I will do shunt connection. Okay, so negative feedback allow high precision, as I already told. So I want to calculate what will be the transfer function of this particular block. So transfer function means y will be your a multiplied by the error signal. So what is error here? This is the error which is given by here a into beta. So input will be x minus a beta multiplied by y, x minus a beta, sorry, it will be not a, it will be y beta, sorry, it will be x minus y, the output y into beta multiplied by a will be your y. Okay, so from there we'll get this transfer function, and then further the approximation, when I will take 1 by a beta common, I will get this form. Now the the target to represent in this form is, if my a beta is very greater than 1, if my a beta is very greater than 1, then what will happen? My yx will change to 1 by beta. This means earlier the gain was, the transfer function was a function of amplifier's gain as well as the feedback component. But now when this condition is satisfied, the transfer function, the gain becomes independent of the open loop gain, and it is only dependent upon the feedback component. So the advantage what we get, if suppose your amplifier gain is generally consist of your transconductance or the output resistance, and this transconductance is again the factor of your input voltage. Now if there is a variation in input, little bit change due to some noise, then your gm will change. Changing gm means your gain will change. Changing gain means overall your transfer function will change. So that's why we introducing beta, we get this type of advantage. So this is called your closed loop gain, and this is called your open loop gain. Okay, So in the negative feedback, as you have seen, in the negative feedback, the loop gain plays, this is loop gain is called A beta. Loop gain has very much importance because it can make my gain, my transfer function or the gain independent of the device variations. Okay, component variations. So this is a negative feedback loop gain. Then the question comes, if suppose a circuit is designed, a feedback is given, and then I need to find, okay, I can easily know what will be the open loop gain, but when a feedback is attached to it, then what will be the overall gain? Okay, and then what will be the feedback components, or which are the components which are acting really as a feedback to the circuit? So in that cases, we need to know what is the loop gain of the equation, because once you know the loop gain, that is A beta, and A is known, then you can easily predict what is beta here. Then the question comes, how to calculate the loop gain. So the calculation of loop gain is very simple. There are few four steps to calculate the loop gain. Number one step, set the input to the zero. Okay, set the input to the zero. Second step, break the loop. Generally at the output we detach the feedback. First we analyze which is the feedback element that we detach from the main output. After that we'll use the test signal and then we'll calculate the VA voltage. For example, this is the closed loop system. Now in this, the number one step, S1 is here, set the input to the 0. Number 2 is break the loop, that output. So here S2 is there, I have broken the loop here. Then use the test signal S3 at the, S3 is here. At the beta side you will use the test signal Vt, and step 4 is calculate the open loop gain VF voltage. This calculation of VF is your step 4. After that what will happen, Vt is known because we have given this one, VF we have calculated. So taking the ratio of VF by Vt, we can calculate the open loop gain, we can calculate the loop gain of the circuit. Once I know the loop gain and loop and overall the gain without the feedback we know, then we can predict what is the beta. And knowing the beta, I can, like your closed loop gain was function of 1 by beta, by modulating the beta I can modulate my gain. Okay, so that's why analyzing of beta is also very important. So there are certain properties provided by this negative feedback. The number one property is your gain desensitization. This means you're making your gain independent of your temperature and process. Okay, temperature and process means what? Your GM, the transconductance. As we move from, if the temperature is increased or decreased, your GM will change. Okay, changing your GM means your gain will change. If your gain is changing, then you cannot estimate that what is the actual value of the gain, because you have to run at certain, suppose T1 temperature. Then at T2 temperature, if you are operating and something happens, then it is very difficult to predict why it happened, because your gain is changing with temperature. Or even suppose you are manufacturing with some certain technology, like Cadence has given some technology, or some other software company given their own MOSFET technology, and both are having the same channel length, but it will change its gain because of process variation. So if we are using only the passive components in feedback network, not the active, then we can ensure the stability of the gain. So negative feedback gives one of that properties, that gain becomes function of 1 by, gain becomes 1 by function of 1 by beta, where beta is only the passive components. Okay, and further, due to negative feedback property, the gain decreases by a factor of 1 plus A beta. A is your open loop gain and this is your feedback component. Okay, so when we are applying negative feedback, at the word itself saying negative means somewhat decrease will be there, and your gain decreases by A 1 by the factor of 1 plus A beta. So first we'll analyze the components of the feedback, the four components which we said always should be there. The number one component was your feed forward amplifier. Okay, so here which is the feed forward amplifier? This one, C1, M1 and this one. These two are your amplifier structures. So this is your feedback network, this is without feedback, number A, and this is with feedback. So with feedback, your main component C1 is C1 here, which is your amplifier. Then which is the second is which is your, what is the second component? The second component is your feedback component. What is feedback component? This is your capacitor C2 is your feedback component. Then number 3 is feedback network. The feedback network is the divider connection of capacitors, that is C3 component. And then C4 component is your, which gives the, once again we'll see what are the 4 components name. Feedback error generation. Number 1 was your amplifier, then sense output, then feedback network, and then feedback error generation. So coming here, yeah. So number 1 we have, so number 1 was your feedback amplifier. Wait. Number 1 we have feedback amplifier. So your M1 and I1 is your feedback, your main feed forward amplifier. Then is your sensing of your output. The output is sensed through C2. If you see, the output is connected to the capacitor C2, which is sensing the output, and sensing the output, and it is giving back to the X point, and X point is related to the input. So C2 act as a sensing output. And what is it sensing here? It is sensing current, because from here the current division takes place. So C2 is sensing your current. Then third was your feedback network. What is feedback network? C1 and C2 is your feedback network. And then fourth is your generation of feedback signal generation. So generation is done by C. Whatever current is coming here, this current, and due to this C, equivalent voltage will be generated here, and that voltage will take part in again giving back the drain current. This means here the generation is done is voltage, sensing is current, and generating is your voltage. Okay. So here, when we want to write the transfer function for this closed loop, we know V out by V in will be minus Gm RO1. This is your open loop gain. And then for analyzing this one circuit, it is V out minus Vx. The equation written V out minus Vx into C2Fs will be this equation. Taking the ratio, I will get this particular equation. Now, this is your open loop gain. Gm R0 is your open loop gain. If Gm R0 is very greater than 1 here, if Gm R0 is very greater than 1, what will happen? My V out we will change to this factor, minus of C1 by C2. Now you see here the gain is independent of Gm. Independent of Gm means now it can be controlled with the help of capacitors. Okay, so this is the advantage of getting negative feedback. So now again, this is the loop gain calculation of this particular. Now we can calculate how to calculate the loop gain for this particular circuit. So this was the earlier circuit. Here, what is this M1 and I1 is your feed forward amplifier. C2 was sensing your current, and through C1 the voltage was generated, and which was given back to the M1 to produce the desired drain current. Now the number 1 step to calculate the loop gain is set the input to 0. So this Vin is set to 0 here. The number 2 is break the loop. So here we have broken the loop. So this is your part S1, this is your S2. Then number 3, S3 is attach the VT signal. So S3 is attached here. And then number 4 is calculate the value of VF. So this is your S4. Okay. Following all these 4 steps, now it is a simple open loop. This open loop circuit. Now we can easily calculate what is VF. So we know VF, this is a common source amplifier with a current source load. So I can directly write here VF by input is your Vx here, the gate node. VF by Vx will be equals to minus of Gm1 into RO1 parallel to, and this one is giving infinite, so parallel to infinite. And then we have to predict what is Vx in term of Vt. So Vt means voltage divider rule will here happen, voltage divider with respect to Vt. So we can easily predict what is VF by Vt, and then we can calculate the open loop gain. So this is the standard procedure to calculate the open loop gain of any amplifier. Calculating the open loop gain amplifier, then we can easily predict what is the open loop gain of this one, because that is Gm1. So from there we can deduce what is beta. So calculation is shown here, that Vx is equals to voltage divider. This is your divider rule, and then this is placed here in the equation of Vf. Vf is equals to here minus Gm R naught into Vx, and then we got this value. Okay, so this was your gain and this is your beta. So here what we predicted, what is beta here? So beta is here C2 by C1 plus C2. Okay. Now the other properties of the negative feedbacks are, it will, the when we give negative feedback, apart from decreasing the gain, it will change the impedance also. Now for any amplifier we are concentrated only on its input and output impedance. So input and output impedance will change by a factor of 1 plus a beta. Now it can increase also or it can decrease also. It depends upon the type of connection. So we can, right now we cannot say whether the impedance will increase or decrease, that we'll see later on. Based on the circuit, the type of sensing and type of generation, we decide whether the input will increase or decrease. Apart from impedance, there will be always the bandwidth modification. So how the bandwidth is modified? The bandwidth is always modified by the factor of 1 plus a beta, and also it will reduce the nonlinearity. Now what is the here is the circuit. This is the negative feedback system, and this was the gain. This was the a naught is the original gain of the amplifier. But when we applied the feedback, when we apply the gain feedback, so under feedback what will happen? The gain will reduce. The gain will reduce by, it will reduce by 1 by 1 plus a beta, the factor. So here the gain is reduced by 1 plus a beta. Now when the gain is reduced by this factor, what will happen? The bandwidth, which was original, the dominant pole is omega naught, which is deciding, this will shift to the right side. And then what will happen? My bandwidth will be now increased. So my bandwidth get increased here. So applying negative feedback, what happened? The gain decreases but the bandwidth increases. This means indirectly what it is giving the information, that gain bandwidth product is always constant. Okay, if gain is decreasing, then your bandwidth will be increasing. Okay, so this graph is representing that form. So now once now we know what is the advantage of negative feedback, and we also know if we are applying negative feedback, what will be the change in happening. The number one change will be in the gain, which will be reducing. The number two change will be in the input output impedance, and the number three change will be in the bandwidth, which will be improving, and all are affected by the factor called 1 plus a beta. Okay, so now we have to apply this negative feedback to our circuits. Now basically there are four types of amplifiers when we design. The number one is your voltage amplifier. Voltage amplifier means it will amplify the voltage. Now which type of voltage? It will amplify the input voltage. So this is the standard representation, V out and V in. So at the output, this is the ideal form of notation, ideal representation. And here this is the practical. In practical, what will there? One impedance will be there. Ideally we assume there should be infinite, but in practical there will be some input impedance to the voltage amplifier, and internally there will be gain, which and with dependent factor of V in, and there will be certain output impedance. Okay, so this is your common source amplifier, and we say that this common source amplifier is nothing but your voltage amplifier. So where the gain is Gm into Rd. Now in this amplifier, further the, if I want to improve the performance, this is the another improved performance of this one. Now here I want to predict that which type of amplifier is this one. Suppose this is the circuit there, and here is no feedback is there, still no feedback is there, because output is not connected back to the input through any path. Okay, so the question is here that which type of amplifier. So what we see here, output is taken in terms of V out. Here output is V out, and what is the input here? This output is given to the source of M2. Now this M2 is configured in a source follower stage, but actual input is not here. Actual input is here. So we'll say input is also given as a form of V in, and so it is a voltage amplifier. voltage amplifier. And which type of configuration? It is a common source, because input is generated through the gate of the M1, not through the drain of the M1. This is the further propagation of signals. So the overall configuration is a common source amplifier with certain changes. Okay. Number two, the second type of amplifier is called transimpedance amplifier. See, we have total two input variables, voltage input and current input, and we have two output variables, voltage output and current output. If we do combination of all, then we'll get four type of variations. The number one, V out by V in. So that is your voltage amplifier. Now, if I take the ratio of V out by I in, so that will be transimpedance amplifier. Transimpedance, why it is sold? Because voltage by I, V by I is nothing but resistance. And here we are where we cannot say resistance, because some capacitors can be also included, so it is replaced by the term called impedance. So that is your transfer of impedance, that is transimpedance. And generally it is generated by R naught. And it is sometimes in textbook you will also see this is also known as current voltage converter, because input is current and output it is converting into the form of voltage. So now representation, the ideal representation is this one, and practically you will see this one. Okay. So input is current, so input resistance will come in picture. Then here the amplification factor is your R naught. So R naught is a function of I in here. Earlier it was it was your AV, but here it is R naught, because based on the amplifier it happened. And then Z out is there. So this is the circuit. Now why I am saying this transimpedance of voltage amplifier, because when the circuit is given, sometimes it will not be written that it is a common source, or it is a transimpedance, or it is a current amplifier. You have to find out which type of amplifier it is. Number one, after I'm analyzing which type of amplifier, then we go for the analysis of feedback. So right now this circuit is there. Now in this circuit, what current is given as the input, what is the output here? V out is taken as the output. This means definitely it is the ratio of, if we need to calculate the transfer function, it is the ratio of V out by I in. Now once the picture come that V out by I in, I have to do, this means we are nothing but talking about the transimpedance amplifier. So from here we can deduce it is a transimpedance amplifier. Further again, this is the changes done here, but again the structure remains of same, the transimpedance amplifier. Again we will verify here. Input is given as a current. Due to this, certain current is generated here. Due to this is your common gate configuration. If you recall, if you break this one, you will see it is a common gate. So here some voltage will be generated, and this voltage will drive M2 to give V out. Okay, so again it is the ratio of V out by IN. So it is a transimpedance amplifier. The third type of amplifier is your transconductance amplifier. Now we have reversed the earlier condition. Now we are taking input as a voltage and output as a current. So what will happen here? Now it will be the ratio of I out by V in. So when I am taking ratio of I by V, then it is nothing but your G 1 by mho. That is opposite of resistance. Okay, opposite of resistance. So it is called transconductance amplifier, and also it is known as voltage to current converter. Okay, so this is the ideal representation, and this is the practical representation of the circuit. And in the form of circuit, how it will look like? So if you see here, M1 is there. So in the M1, the input is given as a voltage, however the output is taken as a current. So again we can say it is the ratio of I out by V in, which is nothing but a transconductance. Again the modification is shown here, that V in is propagated through some element, and then output we have achieved. So always you have to check what is the output variable and what is the input variable. Based on the output and input variable, we can easily say it is a transimpedance or transconductance, or it is a voltage amplifier. So here it is a your transconductance amplifier. Number 4 is your current. I am giving current as the input and taking current as output. So which type of amplifier will be? I out by I in. So which type of amplifier it is? Nothing but a current amplifier. So this is ideal representation, this is practical representation. So in the circuit form, how it will look like? A transistor is taken, input is given as a current, and output is taken as a current. So it is the ratio of iode by in. So it is a nothing but a trans current amplifier. Again it is a modified version, but again we have only to concentrate what is the input variable and what is the output variable, and accordingly we can say it is a which type of amplifier. Here no need to identify which type of configuration, directly we can say. Okay, so now we have seen that how many types of amplifiers can be there. So now we'll see how to this one, how to check whether it is sensing which type of variable, whether it is sensing current or voltage. Okay, so in the first circuit, here if you see, this is the Vout terminal, and this Vout is related to Vin with respect to R1 and R2. These two are the components which are correlating my output to the input. Now how it is correlating? So here what I see, this is a voltage divider network. So here R1 is due to R1, there is certain voltage generated at this point, and this voltage is coming here. This is taking as a part of negative with Vin. This means here what I am doing, here I am sensing voltage. Okay, and here what I am giving in series form to this connection. Okay, so this is voltage sensing done. Now here if you see, here where is the V out? Here V out, in place of V out we are talking only about I out. So what will happen, this is the feedback component. First you identify feedback component. So here this is the R1 which is correlating by I out with this summer. This means this is your feedback component. Okay, and here R1 was my feedback component. So here this is the feedback component, and what R1 is, the complete current is coming here, and this current it is giving here. Okay, this complete current coming, and this complete current it is giving here. So it is what it is doing, it is doing a current sensing. It is sensing the current from the output. Now in the third part, again what it is doing, again the output current is coming, the whole current come across R1, and this R1 will give all the whatever the voltage will generate here, this all voltage will be given back to the summer. Okay, so here current is coming and voltage is given back at the input. So in one way we can also say that which type of amplifier is there. Here I out is coming here, and input is given as a voltage, and also here input is a voltage, so I out by V in, this means nothing but this is a transconductance amplifier. This is your voltage amplifier, the first circuit. So like this way we define which type of amplifier it is, and which is the feedback component, and what type of signal is being sensed and which type of signal is being fed. Then the fourth circuit, this is your voltage subtraction circuit. So why it is called voltage subtraction? This V in is here. Okay, some part of voltage is taken by R1, this R1, and here is VGS. So what is happening here, this VGS and this R1 voltage together will decide what is the drain current. So what is happening here, with voltage subtraction only, with overall voltage V in, the overall V in will be, yeah, VGS minus VGS plus V, some voltage polarity I am not taking right now in consideration. So instead of taking VGS, whether we should take with V in. So V in minus, and that will produce your drain current. So a voltage subtraction factor will create a drain current. So if we need to do voltage subtraction, we have to do like this. And if we want to do current subtraction at the input, then the configuration will somewhat like this. So the conclusion from these two is, main conclusion, if we need to do the voltage subtraction, there should be two different nodes. Okay, distinct nodes should be there. And if I want to do the current subtraction or current addition, a same node is required. It's just like your KCL. If we want to, not KCL, leave it that one. So just remember, if you want to do the voltage subtraction, different nodes are necessary, and if I want to do the current subtraction or addition, the same node is required here. Okay, so this was your all about your sensing and returning of signals. Okay, so now we know how to check which type of signal is sensed at the output, current or voltage, and we know how to deduce which type of amplifier it is. So now combining these two, in the further class we will see um, how the feedbacks are employed in the different type of amplifiers, and how to calculate the your closed loop gain, then input resistance, output resistance with and without feedbacks, along with the bandwidths. So today this much only. In the next class we'll try to complete this feedback chapter. So thank you all. Now I am closing my presentation. Any doubt you can post now.